Okay, starting the last unit, which is pretty impressive. I've done this all in one day, and now it's like June for you guys by the time you're watching this. That's kind of crazy. It's still April 26th when I'm doing it. But it's getting late. I'm a little punch drunk. I'm not actually drinking, by the way. I'm just a little bit tired. But here we go. So before we start the details of this, I want to do a quick overview of forces and free body diagrams. So these next few things are going to be all about calculating something called the net force on something. So all a force is, if you imagine some sort of a wagon or something, right? And you take all the forces on the object, and you add them all up, and when you're done, whatever you have is called the net force. All forces are pushes and pulls. So for example, on this wagon, one force that's on it is its weight, the force of gravity. Another force that's on it is the ground pushes up on it. That has a name. It's called the normal force, but I'm just going to put force and then a little subscript ground. And in this case, those are going to cancel out. And then maybe you're pulling on the wagon, so force by you, and maybe you have a really large dog. Maybe the force by your dog. You've tied him up to the wagon and he's pulling it. But of course, maybe it's stuck in some mud, so it's from frictions pulling back here. And so this diagram, usually you don't actually draw a picture of the thing. It's supposed to be just a box or a dot. But this diagram that shows all the forces acting and the directions that they're acting, and oftentimes you write down what they are, this is called a free body diagram. And we're going to use it to figure out what the net force on this thing is. So for example, in this case, we'll make up numbers. Let's say the wagon weighs 50 newtons. The unit of force in the metric system is newtons. Well, the ground's going to push up with 50 newtons, so they're going to cancel out. All right. Let's say you are, not to make you seem weak or anything, but you're pulling with like 30 newtons. Your dog, you got a beastly dog. I only got like a St. Bernard or something, or I don't know. I had a St. Bernard once. He's a big dog, like the Beethoven dogs. Yeah, he's cool. Drooled a lot. But anyway, let's say your dog's got you. He's going, we'll say he's 45 newtons. That's how hard he's pulling. Friction's working against you at 20 newtons. So what we do is we pick a direction, we call it positive. It doesn't really matter, but for the most part, in everything that we do, I'm going to make right positive and anything that's up positive. Those two directions are both positive. Cool? So let's look at the up and down. Most problems I give you, I'm not going to give you both of these, the left and right and the up and down. In fact, let's do this. The heck with the up and down. We know they obviously are going to cancel, right? The heck with it. Let's just look at these. This is what you would do. To find the net force, well, we write down what forces we got going on here. I always just start with the one going to the positive direction. So you have your force. That's going to the positive direction. Plus, why plus? Because it's going to the right as well. The force by your dog. Minus the force by friction. Why minus? Because if right is positive, that way is negative. So this is friction. So we write that expression out. It seems pretty straightforward. Anything to the right, we write as a positive. Anything going to the left, we write as a negative. The net force, the end result, we plug in the numbers. Your force is 30 newtons. The dog's is 45. Friction is, take away 20. 30 plus 75, but take away 20, that's down to 55. So the net force in this on your cart would be 55 newtons positive, so we would definitely know it's to the right. Seems pretty straightforward. That's all we're going to do, particularly in the early part of this. We'll get into some angles later in a little bit, but not too much. But remember, you're going to pick a direction for positive. Let's just say right and up. We'll just do that all the way across the board. I'm going to give you these diagrams with the forces, so all you have to do is write this expression, plug in the numbers correctly, and add or subtract. And make sure you know which direction. But if you do the numbers correctly with positive negatives, this came out positive, so that's right. You're done. All right, let's go get it.